Good morning everyone. Welcome to all fours e-learning classes. This is Zoology subject session 8 chapter Chemical Coordination, Control and Integration. Today's topic is Adrenal Medulla. Adrenal Medulla. So adrenal medulla is of, we have discussed that the adrenal gland is a suprarenal gland which is present at the attached to the upper side of the kidney, as kidney is with the two regions called cortex and medulla. The adrenal gland is also of the cortex and medulla. We have discussed that is cortex is with the outer zona glomerulosa, middle zona fasciculata and zona reticularis innermost. Zona glomerulosa is covered by means of the capsule and it is releasing the mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, gonadocorticoids or sexocorticoids. Of all this, the three are hormones. One that maintains the homeostasis of mineral is mineralocorticoids, that maintains the glucose is glucocorticoids, that maintains the secondary sexual characters is the sexocorticoids. And we have discussed that among these corticoids hormones are all the most essential one, unlike the medullary hormones. Medullary hormones can be released from the sympathetic, but corticoid hormones are not. The corticoid hormones are influenced by the ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Mineralocorticoid maintains the minerals. Glucocorticoids, cortisol is a life-saving hormone, anti-inflammatory, stress combat, immunosuppressive. Besides that, the cortisol glucocorticoid is also playing role in erythropoiesis, RBC production. Right. Now let's come to the discussion of the adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla is of ectodermal in origin. Its origin, if we see, it is of the ectodermal in origin. Adrenal medulla is of the ectodermal in origin. It is of ectodermal in origin. And the medulla consists of the cells. It is with the medulla region is with one consists of the cells. In fact, the medulla is with the rounded cells which are in fact the modified the postganglionic nerve fibers of the sympathetic neurons. What I am saying is medulla consists of the rounded cells, name it to be the chromophilic cells. Chromophilic cells, or else they are named to be the pheochromocytes. Chromophilic cells or else chromophil cells, which are also named to be the pheochromocytes. Pheochromocytes. Generally, these cells are chromophilic cells are, in general, these are the modified postganglionic sympathetic nerve fibers. In fact, the adrenal medulla is treated to be the extension or modified part of the sympathetic nerve fibers. We do learn that a neuron, that a nerve fiber that is coming out of the ganglion is said to be the postganglionic nerve fiber, whereas that is present before is named to be the preganglionic nerve fibers. So the sympathetic neurons, the preganglionic nerve fibers that are innervating into the adrenal gland, postganglionic nerve fibers modified to form results in the chromophil or chromophilic cells. Chromophil cells they are said to be. These chromophil cells are of releasing the two types of the hormone. So it is said to be the post-ganglionic sympathetic nerve fibers modifies to form the chromaffin cells, which are part of the medulla. So medulla is considered to be the extension of the sympathetic nervous system. That's the reason why it is briefed as sympathetico-adrenal system. The combination of the medullary part, medulla of the adrenal gland with the sympathetic nervous system association is treated to be the sympathetico-adrenal system. Now, the medulla part of the adrenal gland is secreting the two types of the hormones, which are said to be the epinephrine or adrenaline, epinephrine or adrenaline, epinephrine or adrenaline, norepinephrine or noradrenaline. These two are what considered to be the catecholamines. These are what the category name it to be the catecholamines. These are said to be, and these are what made up of a single amino acid. They are comes under the amine group of hormones. Tyrosine and amino acid what present in the epinephrine and norepinephrine. It is a amine hormone categorized as catecholamines, and these are also named to be the fight and fright hormone. In fact, the epinephrine and norepinephrine are performing the same function, that is increasing the heartbeat, increasing the blood pressure, cardiac output is increased, piloerection, profuse sweating, anxiety. These are all what are the conditions of emergency. That's the reason why these hormones are named to be the hormones of emergency hormones. That is, these are what released when somebody is in anger. Fight, flight, fright. Flight means moving away. Fight means ready to fight. Fright means shivering. So these are all what conditions related to the anxiety, anger, excited conditions, emergency conditions. That's the reason why these hormones are named to be the hormones of emergency. They are also named to be the fight, flight, fright. In fact, adrenal gland is said to be the 3F and 4S gland. 3F and 4S gland. What do you mean by this? 3F refers to flight, fight, fright. 1F, 2F, 3rd F. 3F, first, second, third F. 3F stands for flight, fight, fright. And 4S, let's see, this implies to the medulla, whereas that of the cortex is a hormone for mineralocorticoids are for salt metabolism. Is it right? Yes. Next, glucocorticoids for sugar metabolism. Right. And it is stress combat, fighting against the stress, and sex development. That's what 4S. 4S stands for salt metabolism, mineral, sugar metabolism, glucocorticoids, and stress combat, stress and sex development. 3F4S gland what implies to adrenal gland, in which medulla for flight, fight, whereas that of the cortex is a 4S gland. And let's see the functions of the medullary hormones. which includes the epinephrine, norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is the hormone which is also named to be the noradrenaline. It is a amine hormone, both are. This is increasing the cardiac activity. Next, it constricts the blood vessel, thereby increases the blood pressure. That is the functional role of the norepinephrine, and even epinephrine is also of the same function. However, it is functioning the same, but slight differences are there. Let me clear you. Epinephrine in 3 forms it is showing the differences. That is, epinephrine increases the cardiac activity greater than that of the norepinephrine. Next, this is with weak constriction of the blood vessels when compared with the norepinephrine. However, epinephrine and norepinephrine both are constricting the blood vessel, increases the blood pressure. But the case with epinephrine or adrenaline, it is slightly, that is somewhat less constricting, weak constriction of the blood vessels of the smooth muscles, so it is less in causing the blood pressure than do the norepinephrine. But in third way, it is of more in the increasing the heartbeat than that of the norepinephrine. So however, both of the hormones are of same functioning. There is a chance of confusion that by looking at the epinephrine, norepinephrine, we may consider that they are antagonistic. It is blunder. Epinephrine and norepinephrine are of same function in increasing the cardiac output, cardiac activity, increasing the heartbeat, constricting the blood vessel, thereby increasing the blood pressure, piloerection, and the apart from that profuse sweating, anxiety. Piloerection means the erection of the hair. These are all functions takes place when somebody is in a excited condition, emergency condition, and the anxiety. That's what these hormones are named to be the hormones of emergency. So this is how we do discuss the medullary hormone function. And one more point to remember, that this adrenal medulla is in close association with that of the sympathetic nervous system. This is the reason why this portion of the adrenal gland is also named to be the sympathetico-adrenal system. Sympathetico-adrenal system or gland, it is what we treated it to be. Next, apart from that, see, the case with the medulla is we discussed as an extension of the sympathetic system. That is, the preganglionic nerve fibers of the sympathetic neurons start in the nervous system, whose postganglionic nerve fibers form the medulla. So it is receiving what neurotransmitters? That is nothing but the epinephrine, that of the sympathetic nervous system. So keep in mind, we are about to discuss in the earlier classes of the nervous system, we discussed the sympathetic nervous system releases the epinephrine, and it is increasing the heartbeat, increases the blood pressure, and the cardiac output increases, but decreases, inhibits the gastric movement, and the dilation of the pupil of the eye. Pupil of the eye, when somebody is at an anger, what we say is like this, dilation of the pupil of the eye. Okay, and also dilation of the bronchioles. When bronchioles are dilated, more respiratory activity takes place. And one more point we discuss, the adrenaline is what said to be, it is used in the treatment of the asthma. Antihistamine, adrenaline are used. Why? When adrenaline is used, it is dilate the bronchioles. So constriction of the sustained contraction of the smooth muscles is what? Asthma. Moreover, the blockage in the respiratory tract, one suffer from that is one suffer from breathing, nothing but difficulty in breathing and wheezing. Okay, so those are all what avoided by taking adrenaline. Why? It dilates the bronchioles. So these are all what increasing the respiratory rate. This is the main reason why epinephrine or adrenaline is what used in the treatment of the asthma. Recall your memory, antihistamine drugs and the adrenaline is used in the treatment of the asthma. The due reason is adrenaline is what causes the dilation of the bronchioles, dilation of the pupil of the eye, increases the heartbeat, blood pressure raised, piloerection, anxiety. That's the reason why these hormones are hormones of emergency. This is and one more point, it increases the glucose levels, thereby the cardiac output increases. This is the detail about the adrenal medulla. Now let's see the differences between the adrenal cortex with that of the medulla. The differences we can find between adrenal cortex and the medulla. Adrenal cortex with that of the medulla. Adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex and medulla. Adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex is of mesodermal in origin. This is mesodermal in origin. Mesodermal in origin. Whereas adrenal medulla is of the ectodermal in origin. Ectodermal. This is the first difference we find. In the adrenal gland, we discussed that the zona glomerulosa is of 15% constitute. It constitute 15%. Zona fasciculata 50%. Zona reticularis 7%. Almost all it is the about 75%. Adrenal cortex constitute about 75% of the adrenal gland, whereas the medulla constitute constitutes about 25% of the gland. Next, apart from that, there are three regions present in the adrenal cortex. There are three regions. Already we discussed zona glomerulosa, ZG, zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis are the three regions. There is no differentiation. There is no regional differentiation here. Next, apart from that, the adrenal cortex is influenced by ACTH of adrenocorticotropic hormone influences the corticoid hormones. Influences the corticoid hormones means the cortex hormones are called glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and sex corticoids are influenced by ACTH, but it is not influenced by any hormones of the endocrine system. It is not influenced. It is not influenced by any hormones. Next, the medulla is associated with the sympathetic nervous system. It is a sympathetic nervous system association. that can be seen as it is influenced by ACTH, but it is not, but it is with the sympathetic nervous system association. Next, the adrenal cortex, the removal of the adrenal cortex, removal of the adrenal cortex cause death, whereas the medullary part of the adrenal gland, if removed doesn't cause death. This is the interesting point to see. Why? If the medullary hormones epinephrine or epinephrine are not released, they can be released from the sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic neurons release. That is, unlike the adrenal cortex, medullary hormones are not as important as that of the cortex. Why? Medullary hormones can be the same epinephrine, norepinephrine, if not released from the medulla, can be released from the sympathetic nervous system, neurons. But here, adrenal cortex hormones are released from the cortex only. The hormones released are adrenal cortex hormones are steroid hormones. These are comes under steroid hormones category, whereas these are amine hormones, nothing but catecholamines, Next, the hormones released from the cortex are mineralocorticoid, aldosterone, glucocorticoid, cortisol, corticosterone, and the cortisol as well as androgen. Whereas the medullary hormones are epinephrine, norepinephrine. This is how we see the differences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different types of the features we see from cortex with that of the medulla. This is what the information we do discuss with that of the adrenal cortex and medulla. That is, adrenal cortex is of mesodermal in origin, adrenal medulla ectodermal in origin, and this constitute about 75% of the gland. This is about 25% of the glands, and the three regions are there: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis. Whereas here there are no regional differentiation in it, and adrenocorticotropic hormone influences the adrenal cortex, whereas no other hormones influence in medulla. And these are the removal of the adrenal cortex results in death, but removal of the medulla do not cause death, and these are essential to the human survivability, but these are not as essential as cortex. Medullary hormones are not as essential as the cortex. The hormones released from the adrenal cortex are mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, sex corticoids. Medullary hormones are epinephrine, norepinephrine, catecholamines. Adrenal cortex hormones are steroid hormones. Medullary hormones are amine hormones. This is the detail we learn with respect to that of the adrenal cortex and medulla differences. Thank you.